All right, we are live. Trevor, thanks so much for joining me on this podcast. We were just chatting about some big stuff that you're doing. So, just acquired a company for 7+ figures on microacquire. God damn. Thanks for joining, man. I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah, microacquire is awesome. It's been a good experience. I mean, it's really simple. So yeah, everything went really well. I mean, we have a private equity fund called Inturact Capital that we acquired the company through. The concept's pretty much buying bootstrapped businesses, which is something I've noticed you've kind of been promoting lately. And yeah, so we acquired this business. It kind of gives us a head start on growing it, right?
Nice. So when you look at companies to acquire, what's kind of your criteria? What are you looking to buy, and what are you not looking to buy? If you have like a
Sure.
no-go
I
zone.
mean, we really work through our expertise. It's not really what's best, it's what we know, right? So I've been growing B2B SaaS companies for over 10 years now. That's more or less what we look for. We also look for MRR ranges of around 20,000 to 100,000 from my experience. That's kind of where the technical founders cap out, or whether they didn't get funding in time or they didn't take funding, or whatever. Getting through that growth stage after startup seems to be kind of like where that cliff lives. That's what we know best, is that stage. And so we kind of built this concept around taking over at that point. I mean, there's a few others, there's other criteria, but like that's the concept, right?
Nice. I like it. So you acquire, and then your strategy is to grow the companies post acquisition. It's not a buy and hold, milk the cow type P play.
It's not a buy and hold, operate, get through the growth stage, basically 5-year fund, and sell after the, basically when it's time to build a real business, really hire people, like not juice and optimize what the founders started. That's when we look to get out.
Nice. I like that. Tell me about just kind of your principles around let's say acquisitions and just like due diligence. So, you find a target, you really love the company. What are some things like, so if a founder wanted to, get your interest and potentially sell their company to you, what are some what's like some advice you'd give founders of like how to, you know, impress you, or just show that show that they're like a good company to buy?
Sure.
I'm wording this bad, but basically, what advice would you give to founders interested in potentially selling to Interact Capital?
Yeah, I mean, everything sometimes starts with a good fit, right? Like one fund or someone looking to acquire you might look for something completely different than me, and really that fit it starts there. So that part you can't really control, but outside of that, what you can control, to me, is like as much transparency as possible and organized with, like, let's say your metrics, your numbers, your P&L. Like, we need to be able to capture the big picture of the business quickly to make decisions on. So the more you can help do that, and make that decision easier, the better it is.
Nice. What are some like red flags that maybe like really kind of spook you during due diligence?
Yeah, I mean, for us, like not knowing your metrics, or for us also, like since we're really looking more for as close as possible to bootstrapped businesses, if you take too much funding early and your valuations are way too high, or you can't meet the numbers in which we value the business ourselves, those are kind of like red flags. Also, I mean, obviously for us, depending upon if we think we can grow this company or not, it's really important. And that's something, again, you can't really control. But I would say, like, making sure the story is clear for us to make that decision, and whether or not it is something we can work with or not.
Nice. And I completely agree with all that. I mean, just the more founders know just in general about acquisitions, the better. And we try to do that a lot at Microacquire, just educating like what is due diligence, what are typical legal steps, what is an LOI, how to basically prepare yourself for an acquisition because I'm sure you're looking at multiple different businesses on a daily basis. And, the more that you can kind of show like you're willing to do a deal, I think is extremely important. With that being said, are you able to talk about any prior acquisitions you've done? You don't have to name names or price or anything, but just maybe like a fun story of bought XYZ company, took it here, anything like that.
Well, so the private equity fund basically was birthed out of what we've been doing for almost 20 years now at Inturact, which is a SaaS growth agency. And the story behind that is ultimately helping B2B SaaS businesses grow. And we've helped many get acquired, people retire, et cetera. So that we took those concepts and we built basically a SaaS growth framework that was repeatable off of not just what's worked, but understanding what doesn't work, right? So like that's really where you learn the most is when you're failing, I think.
I completely agree.
So
Yeah.
the frameworks, a lot of it's like what not to do versus what to do. But
I love that. That should be like a book. Here's all the stuff not to do.
yeah, that's almost it's almost more valuable. So we took these concepts and turned it into a fund, was able to get funding, and we've acquired two entities now, our first two entities, one prior to the one on Microacquire. So this is all pretty new for us. I mean, we've proven it over and over again through the agency side of things, and now we're doing it ourselves. So as far as like success stories so far, everything is relatively new this year, 2021. So we're just right in the midst of it, but everything's going well. Like we're able to move so fast now. It's insane. Like one decision that would take a month, we do in a day. Just because you don't need like certain approvals and
Yeah,
stuff.
you're speaking my language, man. Speed of
Yeah,
execution wins markets.
for sure.
I always say, good today is better than, perfect tomorrow. So that's awesome, man. I also love how, you have a team of companies that has expertise in growing SaaS. That sounds like a win-win, man. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, we kind of had two routes to go, like grow this agency or hone in on our own expertise, right? And that's kind of the route we chose.
Nice. Well, I'm thrilled to hear how far you take a Microacquire, which was hats off on that acquisition.
Yeah, thanks.
And looking forward to see how far you take it. So with final questions, I always like to ask stuff like this. What entrepreneur inspires you? Like what who are maybe a couple people or one person, but you can't say Elon Musk. Everyone says Elon Musk, so I kind of ban that.
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I've been following you. I think like you have a lot of inspirational things. In fact, one of the reasons I wanted to stay in touch with you and reach out to you was also because of our mindset. Like I think our mindset's very, very similar from the post that you've been posting on LinkedIn and whatnot. And crazy how a lot of it has tied back from like this is like 5 years of stuff that's been like moving into this direction. And I feel like you've kind of like gone in the exact same direction. So like hats off to you. If you want to talk about like bigger names, I mean, if I kind of respect the mentality more of like a Richard Branson. I feel like he's a pretty down to earth guy, being that loaded.
I've heard stories about him. I have a buddy who actually he's a VC and he was with him. The guy's straight up famous. Like people come up to him, like ask him for articles. And this is the most Silicon Valley like story ever. You want to hear it?
Sure.
He was in Dubai with him or something like that. Dubai, so international, and Richard Branson is walking around with like sandals, and like a couple people came up to him asking for autographs, and every single person that would come up to him, he would like say hi, shake their hand. He doesn't have security. Like a lot of other like entrepreneurs have, he has no security. He just like so you're correct. He's from what I've heard, I've never met him. But he's a very, very cool, happy, positive person and just loves making an impact in the world. So
Yeah, and he had a few episodes or whatever on Shark Tank a while back. Like you could look those up. Like the guy's aura on the show exudes that as well. Like he's just always caring about the person over himself that's presenting and like pitching, right? And it's pretty cool.
yeah, that's awesome, man. If favorite book, that's my last question for you. Oh no, I got one more after that.
Yeah, favorite book. I don't know. I mean, there's a few that I've been reading recently that kind of come to mind, but like if I have to give a shout out way back, like Lean Startup or something, maybe. I don't know.
That's a classic, man. Eric
Yeah,
Ries. I remember when that came out. I like literally, I think that was like a decade ago.
I know, but it's like kind of like started a lot that I did, and that's why I feel like you kind of got the new ones are fun, but like kind of go back to the core stuff.
Yeah, that's a book that inspired a lot of entrepreneurs. Final question. What do you like to do for fun? Like what?
Well, I mean, I enjoy what I'm doing now, which is nice, right? Like I've always kind of chose my own path, which is, I really enjoy this stuff.
I love that. I'm sure you've seen me tweet nonstop. Like, if you don't love what you're doing, you're going to be competing against someone who does, and they're going to kick your ass. Like, I believe that fully.
Yeah, well, you get a lot more done when you like what you're doing, right? So
it's not work,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I same thing with me and Microcore. Like just having these conversations, meeting cool people like you, like seeing you, do awesome stuff. That like you inspire me, man. So
Thanks.
really enjoyed this conversation. And where can people find you if they want to get a hold of you? Maybe they want to sell your company to you. What's the best way to contact you?
Yeah, so private equity funds, Inturact Capital. It's INTURACT.capital.
I'll get that in the show notes for you.
Yeah, and you can reach out there, or the agency is just interact.com. Either works. Emails trevor@interact.com. Happy to talk to anyone interested, for sure. Always open to a comment.
Right on. Well, Trevor, great meeting you. Thanks for coming on the podcast, and looking forward to you getting to the Tres Comas.
Sounds good.